As you could probably tell by the tunic and the date on today's paper, I'm speaking to you from the future. It's a bleak and dire landscape. I mean, not here. This is actually really beautiful and lush and green. TV has become a wasteland of reality shows, soul-sucking talent competition, and by some medical miracle, still Larry King. How can you change the future? You can make a 5-minute member-submitted video for MiND.
Do you still carry a place from your childhood in your heart? A hidden corner of your grandmother's garden, a clearing in the woods, a tree fort, or a stream filled with tadpoles and fish? Those fortunate enough to experience nature as children are likely to cherish those memories for the rest of their lives. But millions of children living in America today may never have the chance to create those memories. Fear of strangers and changes in our lifestyles are keeping our children indoors. This trend is something that alarms author Richard Louv, whose book, Last Child in the Woods, Saving Our Children from Nature Deficit Disorder, has become a bestseller. Louv's work has touched a nerve with people who realize that the ancient bond between children and nature has been broken.
Well, for all of human history and human prehistory, children in their formative years have been going outside and spending much of their time either playing or working in nature. All of human history and prehistory. Within a matter of 2 or 3 decades, we're seeing the possible virtual disappearance of that kind of activity among kids. So it's in us, it's part of us. We're genetically wired to need nature. Beyond that, there's the issue just of wonder. Wonder is probably the most important word in Last Child in the Woods. That moment when you were 3 or 4 and went out into the backyard, maybe crawled out into the weeds and found a rock and turned it over and found that you were not alone in the universe. That moment of wonder, or when you went out in the woods and just listened to the leaves move, that moment of wonder is the source of all spiritual growth. How can we cut that off? How can we cut children off from that source of wonder? And we're in danger of doing that.
Scientific studies are verifying Louv's assertion that contact with nature is not just a luxury, but is essential to healthy child development.
Some of these studies show, for instance, kids with the symptoms of attention deficit disorder, the symptoms get much better with just a little bit of contact with nature. Studies of creativity show that kids who play in natural areas versus the flat asphalt or turf playgrounds, the kids in the natural areas play much more creatively. The leaders that emerge in natural areas tend to be the smartest kids. The leaders who emerge in the flat, boring playgrounds tend to be the physically strongest. Studies on stress reduction for both adults and kids show dramatic stress reduction just getting out in nature.
If our response to nature is instinctual and an essential part of what it means to be human, what is keeping us from allowing our children outdoors? Louv believes that the answer to that question is fear.
Well, parents talk about, of course, being too busy, and they talk about electronics, the distraction of electronic video games and television and all of that. But when you really get to it, what parents talk about more than anything is their fear of strangers, of people. And that's why they don't want their kids going outdoors. Now, the irony is that the actual threat of stranger danger, of child abductions, is a fraction of what people think that it actually is. And it's been going down for the last decade. But the fear is real. Yes, there is risk outdoors from strangers and others. Not as much as we think. Yes, there is risk from nature itself. But there's also a huge risk in raising a generation under virtual house arrest. Risk to their spirit, risk to their sense of connection to the earth, their sense of place, their sense of community. There's a risk to their bodies in terms of child obesity, their future health. That's a huge risk. We can't allow that to happen. We can't be the last generation that has that kind of healthy, full human engagement in the world that we were given.
You know, more and more people are coming to recreate outdoors every year. The National Park Service has 300 million people each year. If those people were to leave a trace of their visit, the impact to the land would be enormous.
We're leaving such a mark on the land. The integrity of the wildlands is compromised.
It was my responsibility, basically, is also to be a steward of the land, the places that I enjoy, too.
It's a legacy we pass on, and each of us can take care of it no matter where we are.
It's an ethic or an attitude you have towards your surroundings and how you take care of it.
Part of it is having a passion for the wilderness and the backcountry.
It's a chance to do my part, to take care of the outdoors.
Planning ahead and preparing is a really key part to leaving no trace in the backcountry.
If you plan ahead and prepare, and you plan to minimize your impacts.
Even if you have a tremendous land ethic, if you fail to plan your trip properly, can force the most experienced person into making bad decisions.
Because what you do before you leave home will guarantee the success or failure of that particular trip.
When you're traveling in the backcountry, it's very important that you're aware of your surroundings and what you're hiking on.
Whether you're canoeing or backpacking or walking up a trail, you're going to be interfacing with the ground, and that can have some trampling potential.
Vegetation in many of our areas is getting hammered.
Impacts in the outdoors are individual and they're cumulative.
It's not just their footprint, but it's the thousands of prints that will come after them.
We can have a lot of trampling effect where we camp. You know, we have where we cook, we have where we sleep, we have where we maybe put our backpacks. But in general, if we concentrate our use in those durable areas, we will leave no trace.
The ethic is, leave the area better than you found it.
Because it really challenges users to get out there and take everything out that they brought in. To draw the line and say, hey, I brought it, I'm going to take it out with me. Because these wildlands are important enough to me that I can't leave anything. One of the principles of Leave No Trace is to leave what you find. And that means that everything that you find out there in the backcountry, whether it's plants and rocks and sometimes artifacts, it needs to stay there. They're part of the historic context, they're part of the natural context of what's going on in the backcountry.
But campfires are a very enjoyable thing. But you really have to think about what are the regulations. And then even if a campfire is allowed, you have to look at soil conditions, fire danger, where is the wood going to come from? If you are going to have a fire, there are several different leave no trace techniques.
Going into the backcountry with the expectation that you're going to enjoy the resource as it is, enjoy the night sky and the night sounds, and just rethink the idea of having a campfire. Is it really necessary, or are there alternatives that you can use to enjoy the nighttime of the areas you're visiting?
All wild creatures deserve a chance to function in a normal, natural way.
This is their habitat. I think we should go to extra measures to be sure that we don't disturb their natural behavior.
We need to be conscious of our sound, of our visibility. Most people, when they go in the outdoors, don't do it to see a bunch of folks. So to the degree that you can be unobtrusive, to the degree that you can get out of sight of other people and out of sound, that helps us all enjoy the backcountry without the knowledge and the appearance that there are a whole lot of folks visiting at any one time. Backcountry is pretty real. That's one of the neat things about it. The consequences of our actions are very real.
And that's where Leave No Trace comes in. It tries to heighten an ethic.
How are you feeling today, Lucy?
I'm doing okay today.
Yeah. And
I was out this morning. Where was I? You went to the heart doctor. Yeah. He said I was okay. My name is Lucy Parry, and I'm living at the Quadrennial Retirement Home. Here I am, I'm 98 years old, and I really feel very much alive and able to do anything I want to do.
97, going on 98. You're doing okay.
Yeah.
My name is Carlton Ann Daly, and I'm a massage therapist. I'm the director of Rose Tree Holistic Health and Media in Phoenixville. And I've been doing massage for approximately 20-some years, about 27 years. Out of that 27 years, I've been working with elders, going at least once a week to give them a massage. And Lucy, we've been doing massage together for about 10 years.
And I must say that I look forward to it very much, not only for the massage, but for her company.
I was talking to Jane, and she asked me to come in and give you a massage because you weren't. She thought it might make you feel better. So that was when you were 89, and now you're 98. So it's been
10 years.
10 years.
It's the personal touch on your skin that matters. That's really what it is, because it's not the same as exercise. It's something quite different.
And then sometimes I come and you're not feeling well, but sometimes if I do the massage, it makes you feel better. You always feel like you, it's like a pick-me-up.
I realized that I needed something that needed something more than just exercise. And sometimes I feel like I can do without the exercise, but not without the massage.
Generally, the public is out of touch with something that's very powerful. So my idea is that every elder who wants one should be able to have a massage every day. Edna's been in an assisted living and struggling with Alzheimer's for now about 8 years. When I go in, I tell her how much I enjoy seeing her, and I still keep up my verbal contact even though she might not say anything to me. So that's why I feel how powerful touch is, that it goes beyond just the verbal, that it's really there for her, no matter what she's feeling, no matter what she's doing. Just even if she's just laying there, that physical contact's really important. Observations that I see when I go out to work with elders is that they're living longer. So I feel that as we're extending life, so should we extend our ability to reach out and be with the elders on a more regular basis. I feel totally gratified, totally blessed that I can be part of massage in a healing way with elders.
Sort of revives me if I've been feeling sort of low, or in any way both, mentally or emotionally. Massaging seems to help to smooth things out, to make things life seem more pleasant and carefree. Yes. Oh, I've never felt too ill to have a massage.
It improves the immune system functioning and the ability for the elder to just feel better, to feel even like they're younger, because the circulation is improving. If you would like to have massage, no matter what age you are, those benefits are across the board.
Since I'm well in my 90s, I have it twice a week, which is even better. That feels good. After I've had a massage, I just feel I could dance all night.
Take your place in the world of video by becoming a member of MiND and attending one of our monthly video production workshops. You can learn about concept development, camera techniques, microphones, editing, and more. Sign up today by visiting mindtv.org/training.
The Schuylkill River Sojourn is an annual event that we put together 9 years ago. This is our 9th annual, where people sign up to canoe or kayak on the Schuylkill River. We start on a Saturday morning in Schuylkill Haven, up outside of Pottsville, and end the following week at Boathouse Row in Philadelphia. And each year we put together a series of programs that would educate people about our heritage region, about the Schuylkill River, or about the history of this area.
I think the entire sweep of the environment can be taken in this 7-day journey, the 7-day sojourn, because it really is a sojourn in the sense that we're taking our time. There's some perseverance involved. We've had some longer trips where you think you'll never stop paddling, but that's part of the adventure of it as well.
The first 3 days of this sojourn are a little bit more fun. There's some rapids and stuff like that. Overall, the day is fairly quiet and just a nice day on the water.
There are some people that they're in this for a number of reasons. One, they're interested in the environment and hope to share that with others, and they're good stewards of the environment. But there are others here that just love recreation, love to be outdoors, and love to paddle. They're looking at it as a physical challenge. There are people of a variety of ages that get involved and a variety of backgrounds. A lot of retired people have joined us. So they come to us with different interests, and that's why they participate.
I retired about 3 years ago, and my children gave me a kayak for a present, and just got the bug, and been doing it ever since.
The people who have been attracted to this kind of adventure have been wonderful. Lots of interesting conversations, and people coming from a lot of very diverse walks of life, all wanting to either be on the water or to think about the water from an environmental perspective.
I've been sojourning for 12 years now. I started when I was 8 years old, and I first took the Schuylkill Sojourn last year, which was 2006, and they enjoyed my photography, so I was invited to come back as the trip photographer for this year. I've kind of moved up over the years. I started, of course, as like a normal, complete beginner, and I'm now a safety boater, so I help rescue people and move them through difficult sections of the river. And every year is very different, weather-wise, as well as the water changes.
We've seen this event grow each year. We Started off with a small number and have grown. Our record was 184, and this year we've gone to 192, so we've broken our record, and more people are interested in learning about the region and getting involved. So it's, I think the fact that it's growing each year is an indication that people are getting something out of it, and they're telling their friends, and there's more people out there that are interested in learning.
Yearly there are a number of people who repeat it. I'd say usually 12 to 15 people, and it's really become a family, an extended family of sorts, including the organizers. We come back every year to the same communities, and they remember us, and it's really, I mean, I live in central Pennsylvania, but I still feel a close connection to this area, which is really nice.
There's different messages that we convey each year and in each day of the trip. Sometimes we talk about historic preservation. Other times we've talked about the recreational value of the Schuylkill River Land Trail, for example. People that like to hike and bike the Schuylkill River Trail. So the message is a little different, and people take out of it and get what they want.
This is my third year, and I've learned something new every year. It's just breathtaking out there. I mean, you see eagles, you get into fast water, beautiful scenery. It's just and the exercise. It's just great for you.
I'd like more Philadelphians to take it. There are very few Philadelphians on the trip. Most of the people on the trip seem to be from further up along the Schuylkill, so I think more of us city dwellers need to experience the river this way.
The Schuylkill Center is an environmental education center, but most people would probably recognize it as a nature center. But we feel like we do a lot more than just your typical nature center would do. We have over 350 acres in the far northwest of Philadelphia, and there are ponds and fields and forests and streams. And most recently, we have an organic farm also located on our property. And so our mission is to preserve the land that we have, and also to reach out to the public in as many ways as we possibly can to inform them and to educate them and to empower them to make their own decisions about environmental things. The Nature Ramblers down on the farm camp is our newest addition to our summer lineup of environmental themed camps. And what it is it's a way for children to interact with the farm on an everyday, hands-on basis. They get to learn about topics such as plant parts and also, you know, what you can do with those plants, how they're useful for humans, how we grow things, why we grow things, and they're able to do farm chores, so it's a great way to educate and also let them have a good time at the same time. The Schuylkill Center became an environmental education center in 1965, but before that, for at least 200 years, it was being used primarily for farming. And what happened here is it was a lot of pasture farming. So it's really neat to be able to expose the children to that, to let them know that this property has undergone so many changes, but we are connecting with its past by going back to what it was used originally. Now the soil here is pretty rocky, so what we're doing by farming, you know, we're doing small-scale urban farming and growing pumpkins and other kinds of plants, but typically it was more used for pasture for animals. And we're also going to talk about what was going on here even before colonial times. We'll be talking about the Lenape native people and how they used the land, and all of the different cultural things that happened between what was going on with the Lenape Indians in the 1600s and all the way up to the present day. So they'll get to see the evolution of that change and how machinery and technology have really affected farming. And now how also we're sort of going back to small scale with less of the chemicals that were introduced toward the end of this historical period. We are definitely going to focus on the contrast between large-scale farming and small-scale farming, and having your produce come from hundreds, maybe thousands of miles away, maybe even over large bodies of water, as opposed to having your produce come from, the farm a couple miles away or maybe a couple counties away. And we will show the kids all of the resources that go into having your food come from far away. So they'll get a chance to learn about that during the week that we focus on the history of farming. Farming is sort of the bridge. It's the bridge where people can understand that this great world and all these environments and the forest and the soil and the air around us is really what's providing our needs. And it might be hard to connect in a forest how your needs are being met, but it's so easy when you're on a farm to understand that, these abiotic factors, this sunlight, this carbon dioxide, this oxygen that's in the air is creating this wonderful squash that I get to take home and eat. So there's a direct connection between the person and the soil and the ground. And I think that that's really important. And I think it sort of frames the way you think about the world and the ecosystem in a larger context. If you know that what you need comes from the earth, then you make better decisions about forests, about rainforests, about fields, about all these different ecosystems that we have here, about wetlands. So I think that's one reason why it's really important. And also, I think just in a broader sense, children are sort of losing touch with the outdoors in general. So there's lots and lots of indoor stimulus, lots of electronics and things like that. So this is sort of a way to tether them back to the ground and say, yes, you have your iPod, but you also need to eat, so maybe you should learn about this too.